Every dream you've ever had is waiting on the other side of one decision. Will you stay loyal to your goals when it gets hard? That's the line that separates the successful from the forgotten. Not talent, not luck, but loyalty. Staying committed when the fire inside starts to flicker, when the results don't show, and when the world seems to have moved on. Most people don't fail because they're not good enough. They fail because they give up too soon. They walk away when the path gets quiet, when no one's clapping, when the struggle seems endless. But what if you're only one more step away from the breakthrough? What if the only thing standing between you and your dream life is your ability to stay loyal just a little bit longer? In the beginning, everything feels possible. You're motivated, excited, ready to conquer the world. You set your goals, you map out your plan, and you dive in head first. But then life kicks in. Doubt creeps in. Challenges start stacking up. The enthusiasm fades and reality demands more than you expected. That's when most people stop. They convince themselves it wasn't meant to be, that maybe it's time to be realistic. But being realistic has never built empires. Staying loyal to a vision, even when everything tells you to quit, that's what builds legacies. There will be days when you feel like you're giving everything and getting nothing. Days when no one believes in you. Not your friends, not your family, maybe not even yourself. But those are the exact moments where loyalty matters the most. Not to others, but to the person you told yourself you would become. Staying loyal doesn't mean you're not tired. It doesn't mean you don't feel fear. It means you keep showing up anyway. It means that even when your legs are shaking, your heart is heavy and your mind is screaming, give up, you don't. You breathe, you fight, you move forward one more step. The world is full of people who started strong, who shouted their goals from rooftops, who wrote down affirmations, who posted about their new journey. But few finish, few endure. Because true loyalty isn't about the hype, it's about the habits. It's about doing boring work, the painful work, the unseen work, over and over again without praise, without reward, sometimes without hope, and still doing it anyway. Because deep down something in you refuses to give up. Loyalty is tested in silence, when the lights are off, when the audience is gone. When progress feels invisible, that's when the inner battle begins. And that's where you either rise or fall. But every time you stay loyal in those dark moments, you build something unshakable. Not just a career, not just a body, not just a skill, but a mindset. A mindset that says, no matter how hard it gets, I will not quit on myself. You weren't given your goals by accident. They were planted in you for a reason, and the path to reaching them will test everything you are. But that test is your transformation. That test is what sharpens your edge, fuels your fire, and carves the person you were always meant to become. The version of you that doesn't break, that doesn't settle, that doesn't stop. So the next time you feel like quitting, remember this. You didn't come this far to only come this far. You've survived storms, heartbreaks, failures, and yet, you're still standing. That means you're capable of so much more. Stay loyal to your goals. Not because it's easy, not because it's fun, but because the person on the other side of that struggle is worth fighting for. And once you meet them, you'll realize it was never about the goal. It was about who you became by staying loyal to it. Part 1. Why most people quit too soon. Most people don't fail because they lack talent. They don't fail because they're incapable or unworthy. They fail because they quit too soon. They walk away right before the tide turns, right before the momentum shifts, right before everything starts to make sense. Quitting doesn't usually happen all at once. It creeps in slowly. It starts as a whisper in the back of your mind, telling you to rest, to take a break, to skip one day, then another. Before you know it, the dream that once lit your soul on fire becomes just another thing you used to be passionate about. And just like that, potential dies not with a bang, but with a quiet decision to stop. We live in a fast-paced world. Instant gratification is the norm. You can order food, book a flight, and get likes on a photo within seconds. So when it comes to goals, when it comes to long, grinding journeys that require time, patience, and loyalty, most people simply don't have the endurance. They expect results after a week, validation after a month, and success without sacrifice. When those expectations aren't met, they assume something's wrong. They blame the goal. They say it's not for them. But the truth is, nothing's wrong except the timeline in their head. Real success isn't quick. It's not convenient. It's earned through persistence when progress is invisible. But here's the painful reality, those early stages of the journey. They often give you nothing in return. No applause, no results, no proof that what you're doing is even working. That's where most people lose. They need signs, they need reassurance, they need certainty. And when they don't get it, they fold. But those who win, the few who reach the mountaintop, are the ones who kept climbing with no guarantee. They didn't wait for signs. They became the sign. They believed when there was no evidence, and that belief became their strength. Quitting too soon is usually disguised as something logical. It's not working. It's just not the right time. I'll try again later. These excuses feel safe. They feel smart. But deep down, you know the truth. You're afraid. You're tired. You're uncomfortable. And instead of facing those feelings, you walk away. But here's the hard truth. Discomfort is part of the process. Struggle is the currency of growth. If it's challenging, it means you're in the right place. If it hurts, it means you're changing. The irony is, most people quit right before it gets good. Right before the breakthrough. Right before everything they've worked for starts to pay off. It's like digging for gold and giving up inches before striking the vein. They don't realize how close they were because the journey got quiet. But that silence isn't a sign of failure, it's a test. A test to see if you're serious. A test to see if you're truly loyal to what you said you wanted. You have to understand, there's a waiting phase in every goal. A phase where nothing makes sense. Where you question everything. Where you wonder if you're wasting your time. That's the part that breaks most people. But that's also the part that builds the few who win. If you can push through that phase, if you can stay loyal when it's the hardest, you'll find yourself on the other side with strength, confidence, and results that most people only dream about. So ask yourself, are you going to be like most people who quit too soon and settle for a life of what-ifs? Or are you going to keep pushing, keep believing, keep grinding, even when the rewards are nowhere in sight? Remember, your breakthrough might not happen today. It might not happen this month. But if you quit now, you'll never know how close you were. Stay loyal. Keep showing up. Because one more day of effort could be the day that changes everything. Part 2. The Power of Commitment. Commitment is not something you make when everything feels right. It's a decision you make regardless of how you feel. It's the inner promise that says, I will see this through no matter what. In a world full of short-term excitement and temporary motivation, commitment stands tall as a rare force. Most people rely on how they feel in the moment. If they feel inspired, they work. If they feel tired, they stop. But true commitment doesn't ask how you feel. It demands that you show up, even on the days you don't want to, especially on those days. Because those are the days that shape your character. Anyone can commit for a day. Anyone can commit for a week. But what separates the successful from the spectators is the ability to commit over time when it's not easy, not fun, not glamorous. Commitment is about consistency. It's about doing what needs to be done even when no one is watching, even when the fire inside burns low. The people who win in life are not the ones who always feel motivated. They are the ones who make a commitment to a lifestyle, not a mood. They're not driven by temporary emotion. They're driven by long-term vision. Think about the people you admire. The entrepreneurs, the athletes, the artists, the legends. What do they all have in common? Unbreakable commitment. They didn't dabble. They didn't test the waters. They jumped in and they stayed in even when the waters got rough. Commitment is not something you do when it's convenient. It's something you live by when it's difficult. That's when it matters the most. Anyone can stay loyal when things are easy. But can you stay loyal when the storms come? When the process slows? When the world doubts you? Here's what most people never understand. Commitment gives you power. When you eliminate the option to quit, your mind stops wasting energy on doubt. It stops asking, should I keep going? And starts asking, how can I keep going? That shift is massive. It's the difference between fragile focus and unstoppable momentum. When you're committed, truly committed, quitting is no longer on the table. You might fail, fall, or get knocked down, but you always get back up because your decision to commit is stronger than your desire to rest. The truth is, commitment isn't a one-time thing. It's a daily decision. Every morning you wake up and recommit. Some days it'll feel effortless. Other days it'll feel like climbing a mountain with bricks on your back. But you keep going. Because your commitment is rooted in purpose, not comfort. Your commitment is connected to the life you want, the impact you crave, and the person you promised yourself you'd become. When people look at someone who has achieved greatness, they see the glory but miss the grind. They see the highlight reel but never see the early mornings, the late nights, the internal battles, and the thousands of moments when quitting seemed easier. But those moments are the birthplace of greatness. That's where commitment earns its stripes, not on stage, not in front of an audience, but behind closed doors, when it's just you and your goal, and the only voice pushing you forward is your own. So let this be your reminder. Talent is useful, passion is beautiful, but commitment is essential. Without it, nothing lasts. Without it, dreams fade. You don't need perfect conditions. You don't need applause. You need a decision. One decision to stay in the game no matter what. And once you make that decision, really make it, everything changes. You begin to trust yourself. You begin to see progress. And eventually, the world begins to notice. Stay committed. Not because it's easy, but because it's worth it. Stay committed because your future demands it. And because the life you're building deserves nothing less than your full, unwavering loyalty. Part 3, Building Mental Toughness. Success isn't just about what you do. It's about how strong your mind is when everything around you starts to fall apart. Building mental toughness is one of the most important parts of staying loyal to your goals. Without it, you'll break under pressure. You'll surrender when setbacks show up. But with it, you become unstoppable. Because mental toughness isn't about never feeling weak. It's about standing tall when you do feel weak and choosing to keep going anyway. It's the decision to fight through fear, doubt, and disappointment without letting them own you. Mental toughness begins the moment you decide that failure is not the end, just a step. It's forged in the fires of rejection, ridicule, and resistance. It's built every time you choose discipline over comfort, growth over excuses, and consistency over chaos. Life will throw things at you: unexpected delays, harsh criticism, betrayal, and burnout. But mental toughness is the armor you wear when the journey gets rough. It doesn't make things easier, but it makes you stronger. You see, a weak mind searches for escape. It wants to stop as soon as things don't go as planned. But a tough mind looks for a way through. It doesn't beg for the path to be easier. It trains for the path to be harder. Mental toughness means you no longer let emotions dictate your effort. You might wake up tired. You might feel like giving up. But you push anyway because you've built a mind that serves your goals, not your feelings. And that shift is powerful, because feelings are temporary, but your vision is permanent. People often think strength is loud, but real mental strength is quiet. It's the person who suffers in silence and still performs. It's the one who takes the punch, wipes the blood, and stands back up without complaining. It's the warrior who doesn't need recognition, only the satisfaction of knowing they didn't quit. That kind of strength can't be bought, copied, or faked. It must be earned through experience, through adversity. And the more you're tested, the stronger you become. It's easy to be motivated when life is smooth. But real mental toughness is revealed in chaos. When everything you counted on falls apart, and the only thing left is your will to keep moving forward. That's where true warriors are made, not on sunny days, but in the storms. If you can learn to stay focused when everything goes wrong, to stay loyal when nothing makes sense, to keep building even when nothing seems to grow, you become the kind of person who cannot be broken. Your thoughts are your battlefield. You win or lose the war in your mind before you ever take action in the world. That's why building mental toughness starts with mastering your inner voice. Shut down the voice that tells you you're not good enough. Silence the thoughts that scream you'll never make it. Replace them with thoughts that build, not break. Speak power into yourself when no one else does. Because the most important conversations you'll ever have are the ones you have with yourself. And remember, toughness isn't about pretending everything's okay. It's about staying calm and pushing forward despite everything not being okay. It's about knowing the difference between being tired and being done. It's about pushing one more time, even when you don't see the light. That extra push, that one more effort. That's the difference between an average life and an extraordinary one. So build your mind. Train it like you train your body. Feed it strength. Discipline it daily. Because when the hard days come, and they will come, it won't be your goals that save you. It'll be your grit, your heart, your mental toughness. That's what will carry you across the finish line when motivation is gone, and everything depends on whether or not you can still fight. Part 4. Discipline versus motivation. Motivation is a great place to start, but it's the worst place to depend on. It comes and goes like the weather. Some days it's there, and some days it vanishes without a trace. That's why if you're serious about achieving anything meaningful, you must stop relying on motivation and start building discipline. Motivation is emotional. It's triggered by energy, music, videos, or a powerful story. But discipline? Discipline is a decision. It's the quiet force that wakes you up early, keeps you moving forward, and holds you to your word long after the excitement fades. People often ask, how do I stay motivated every day? But that's the wrong question. You don't. No one does. Even the most successful people in the world don't feel motivated all the time. What they've mastered isn't motivation, it's discipline. They've created a mindset and a system that doesn't ask how they feel. They just do what needs to be done. Motivation is like a spark. It can ignite a fire. But discipline is the fuel that keeps it burning long after the spark disappears. If you want to build something lasting, you need more than motivation. You need structure, routine, and a mindset that doesn't negotiate with excuses. Discipline doesn't care about your mood. It doesn't wait for the right time. It doesn't ask if you're tired, bored, or distracted. It just demands action. And the more you practice discipline, the more powerful it becomes. It builds confidence. It builds momentum. It turns you into the kind of person who follows through, who finishes what they start. Because every time you act out of discipline rather than emotion, you prove to yourself that you are in control. Not your feelings, not your doubts, not your circumstances. You are. That's what makes discipline so powerful. It builds internal strength. When others are sleeping, you're working. When others are making excuses, you're pushing forward. That's how winners are made. Not through passion bursts or inspiration videos, but through boring, consistent, unglamorous work repeated over and over again. Anyone can do something once. But discipline is about repetition. It's about showing up every single day, even when no one is watching, even when the results are slow, even when it feels like nothing is changing. That's how goals are achieved, by outlasting the urge to stop. There's a trap that many people fall into. They wait. They wait to feel ready. They wait to get inspired. But inspiration is unreliable. If you keep waiting for motivation to strike, you'll spend your life on pause. The real winners don't wait, they move. They act. And by taking action, they create their own motivation. Because nothing builds motivation faster than seeing results. And nothing creates results faster than disciplined action. When you start treating your goals like non-negotiables, your life changes. It's not, I'll try to work out. It's, I train daily. It's not, I'll try to eat better. It's, I fuel my body like a champion. It's not, I hope I stay focused. It's, I cut out distractions because I respect my future. That's the difference discipline makes. It turns goals into standards. It turns wishes into commitments. It turns ordinary people into unstoppable forces. So if you're tired of starting over, tired of falling off track, tired of letting your emotions control your effort, make discipline your foundation. It won't be easy. You'll struggle. You'll resist. You'll have days when every fiber of your being wants to quit. But that's exactly when discipline kicks in. That's when the decision to stay loyal to your goals matters most. Not when it's easy, but when it's hard. Discipline is what builds legacies. It's what separates the dreamers from the doers. So don't chase motivation. Create systems. Build habits. Be consistent. And most importantly, stay loyal to your goals, not because you feel like it, but because you promised yourself you would. Part 5. Ignore distractions, stay focused. In today's world, distraction is not just common, it's constant. It's around you, within you, and always pulling for your attention. Every beep from your phone, every scroll on social media, every unnecessary conversation or mindless entertainment, it's all stealing something from you. Time, energy, focus. And if you're not careful, those distractions will slowly pull you away from your goals, one tiny interruption at a time. That's the trap most people fall into. They start strong. They have big dreams, clear intentions, and solid plans. But then life starts throwing noise their way, and instead of staying locked in, they get lost in it. They confuse movement with progress. They stay busy but not effective. And before they know it, they're far from the path they were once committed to. Staying loyal to your goals means learning the skill of focus. It means shutting out the noise and narrowing in on what truly matters. Focus is power. When you can block out the unnecessary and zone in on your mission, you gain an edge most people never develop. Most people are pulled in 100 directions. They start projects they never finish. They jump from one shiny thing to another, always chasing, never building. But those who stay focused build things that last. They understand that success isn't about doing everything, it's about doing the right things with relentless consistency. Distractions are not always obvious. Sometimes they come disguised as good opportunities, urgent requests, or even supportive voices that unintentionally steer you off track. But here's the truth. Anything that doesn't bring you closer to your goal is pulling you away from it. Period. That's why clarity is critical. When you're crystal clear about what you want and why it matters, it becomes easier to say no. No to wasting time. No to meaningless conversations. No to habits and people that drain your energy. You can't build greatness in a scattered state. Your attention is a limited resource, and wherever it goes, your energy follows. If you give your attention to drama, comparison, and distractions, don't be surprised when you feel drained and directionless. But when you protect your focus, when you make your goals your priority, you become sharp, precise, dangerous. You start to move with purpose. Every day becomes a chance to make progress instead of just going through the motions. Of course, staying focused is hard. We live in a time where everything is designed to grab your attention. But that's exactly why mastering focus is a superpower. When others are distracted, you're dialed in. When others waste hours scrolling, you're working in silence. And that silence becomes your secret weapon. Because while the world is watching highlight reels, you're building the life they'll one day admire. The deeper your focus, the faster your progress. And the more loyal you are to that focus, the closer you get to your goals. You have to build boundaries. Protect your time like it's sacred because it is. Schedule your day with intention. Turn off the things that don't serve you. Be ruthless about what you allow into your mental space. This isn't about being rigid or robotic. It's about being committed. It's about recognizing that your dream deserves your full attention, not just your leftover energy. The world will always try to distract you. But when your focus is fueled by purpose, it becomes unshakable. So ask yourself, what distractions are stealing your future? What are you giving attention to that doesn't deserve it? Because until you cut those ties, your loyalty to your goal will always be divided. And divided loyalty leads to divided results. If you want to win, you have to lock in. Eliminate what's pulling you away. Double down on what's pushing you forward. And most of all, stay loyal. Because your focus today shapes your future tomorrow. Part 6. Progress is not always visible. One of the greatest challenges on the journey to success is this simple truth. Progress is not always visible. There will be long stretches of time when it feels like you're doing everything right, but nothing is changing. You'll be putting in the work, showing up daily, pushing past doubt, and still, the scale won't move, the results won't come, and the world will remain silent. That's the moment most people lose faith. They assume that if they can't see the results, it means they're failing. But that's not failure, that's the hidden phase of growth. That's the season where roots are growing deep before anything breaks the surface. Think about nature. A bamboo tree spends years underground before you ever see it sprout. You water it, nurture it, believe in it, and for months or even years, nothing happens. Then suddenly, in just a few weeks, it shoots up feet into the air. Did it grow in those few weeks? No. It grew all along. You just couldn't see it. The same is true for your goals. Just because the growth isn't visible doesn't mean it isn't happening. Progress is often quiet, invisible, and misunderstood. But that doesn't mean it's not real. In our fast-paced world, we've been conditioned to believe that progress should be instant. You post a video, you want views. You start working out, you want abs. You launch a business, you want profits. But real growth doesn't work like that. It's not always dramatic. It doesn't always come with applause. Sometimes the biggest changes are the ones happening deep within you, the mindset you're building, the resilience you're developing, the patience you're cultivating. Those things don't show up on charts or in bank accounts. but they're laying the foundation for everything else. The danger is in mistaking the lack of visible success for the lack of real success. When people don't see evidence of progress, they start doubting their path. They wonder if they're wasting their time. That's when many decide to quit, not realizing they were inches away from a breakthrough. It's like climbing a mountain in the fog. Just because you can't see the summit doesn't mean it isn't there. And if you turn around now, you'll never know how close you really were. This is where loyalty truly gets tested. Can you keep going when there's no external validation? Can you stay loyal to your process when there are no guarantees, no signs, no applause? That's what separates the average from the exceptional. The exceptional keep going. They trust the work. They trust the effort. They don't measure progress by what they see. They measure it by what they're becoming. Your job isn't to control the results. Your job is to control the input. Show up. Stay consistent. Do the work. And then trust that the outcome will take care of itself in time. Because if you stay committed long enough, the results will eventually show up. And when they do, they'll come faster and stronger than you ever imagined, not because of a miracle, but because you kept building when no one was watching. You must learn to fall in love with the process, not just the progress. Learn to value the work itself, even when there's no reward in sight, because it's in those invisible seasons that greatness is born. It's in those silent hours that champions are made. You don't need proof right now. You need patience, you need trust, and most of all, you need loyalty to your vision, to your grind, to your growth. Progress is like the sunrise. You don't always notice it happening, but when it finally breaks through the horizon, it lights up everything. Stay loyal. Stay focused, because something incredible is building beneath the surface, and soon the world will see what you've known all along. Part 7. Create systems that support your goals. Staying loyal to your goals isn't just about raw passion or intense motivation. It's about creating the right systems that make success inevitable. You can't rely on willpower alone because willpower fades. Some days you'll feel on fire. Other days you'll feel completely drained. But if you build systems around your goals, habits, routines, environments, then even on the days when motivation fails you, your structure will carry you through. Success is not just about how hard you work. It's about how smart you set yourself up to win. Imagine trying to reach a destination with no map, no plan, and no preparation. You might have the desire to get there, but without direction, you'll wander endlessly. That's what it's like pursuing a goal without a system. A goal is your destination, but a system is the vehicle that gets you there. If your system is broken, your goal remains a fantasy. But when your system is strong daily habits aligned with your vision, routines designed to optimize your energy, a mindset rooted in discipline, then progress becomes automatic. Think of the most successful people you admire. Yes, they're driven. Yes, they're passionate. But behind the scenes, they have powerful systems. A writer doesn't wait for inspiration. They have a schedule. An athlete doesn't train when they feel like it. They have a regimen. A business leader doesn't hope for clarity. They plan, evaluate, and adapt. Systems aren't glamorous. They're not always exciting. But they're what keep your goals alive through the grind. So how do you build systems that support your goals? Start by identifying the daily habits that move you forward. If your goal is to get fit, your system might be waking up at 6 a.m., prepping healthy meals in advance, and training 5 times a week. If your goal is to grow a business, your system might involve focused work blocks, daily customer outreach, and regular skill upgrades. The key is consistency, doing small things daily that stack up over time. Also, pay attention to your environment. The people around you, the places you spend time, even the layout of your workspace, all of these influence your behavior more than you realize. If your environment supports distraction, you'll be distracted. If your circle supports laziness, you'll be lazy. But if your environment reinforces discipline, you'll find it easier to stay on track. Design your surroundings to align with the version of yourself you're trying to become. Another powerful part of systems is accountability. Tell someone you trust about your goal. Track your progress. Set deadlines. Join a community. Accountability transforms your private ambition into a public responsibility, and that pressure, when channeled correctly, can drive massive results. But remember, the most important accountability is to yourself. Can you keep your promises when no one is watching? That's where self-respect is forged. The truth is, no matter how much you want something, without a system, you'll constantly battle inconsistency. But with the right system in place, your goals become a natural byproduct of your routine. You won't have to fight your habits, they'll fight for you. You won't have to wait for motivation. Your structure will keep you moving. This is how loyalty becomes sustainable, not just a feeling, but a design. Build your life around your goals. Make it hard to fail. Create a structure that supports your discipline, a routine that supports your vision, and a mindset that reinforces your commitment. Because when your systems align with your dreams, staying loyal becomes easier, not because you have more energy, but because you've removed the need to rely on it. So if you're serious about your goals, don't just dream design. Don't just plan prepare. And don't just hope build. The future belongs to those who don't just want success, but to those who engineer it into their lives, one intentional system at a time. Part 8. Finish what you start. The hardest part of any journey is not starting, it's finishing. So many people begin with fire in their eyes and passion in their hearts, but as time passes, that fire dims, and the finish line feels miles away. Staying loyal to your goals means more than just showing up. It means finishing what you start. It means pushing through every challenge, every doubt, every moment of wanting to quit, because true success lies in completion. The world is full of unfinished stories, half-built dreams, and abandoned promises. But what sets winners apart is their relentless refusal to leave anything incomplete. Finishing what you start is a test of your character, your discipline, and your loyalty to yourself. It's easy to start a project, an exercise routine, a business idea, or a new habit. That initial excitement gives you a rush, a surge of energy that propels you forward. But when the novelty fades and the obstacles rise, that's when most people give up. They settle for good enough or get distracted by the next shiny thing. But you're not here to settle. You're here to finish, to close the chapter, to see your vision through, no matter how long it takes. When you make the decision to finish, you're declaring war on inconsistency. You're telling yourself that no matter how many times you fall, you will get back up. No matter how slow the progress, you will keep moving forward. You're choosing loyalty to your goals over temporary discomfort, fear, or frustration, because finishing requires patience and perseverance. It demands that you keep grinding long after motivation fades. It calls for showing up when your mind says stop, and your body screams rest. Remember, every completed goal, no matter how small, is a victory. It builds momentum. It strengthens your confidence. It proves to yourself that you're capable of more than you thought. And the more you finish, the easier finishing becomes. Finishing is a skill. It's like a muscle you build through repeated effort. The first few times might be difficult. You might stumble. But each time you finish, you reinforce your loyalty and grow your resilience. There will be moments when finishing feels impossible, when the weight of doubt feels overwhelming, when the setbacks pile up and the voices around you tell you to give up. But those are exactly the moments where finishing matters the most. Because the only way to truly fail is to stop trying. And if you refuse to stop, you have already won. Finishing isn't about being perfect. It's about being persistent. It's about pushing through the discomfort to reach the promise on the other side. Think about the goals you've started and not finished. Imagine how different your life would be if you had stayed loyal to those beginnings. Now take that same energy, that same passion, and apply it to what you're working on today. You don't have to be the fastest or the smartest. You just have to be the one who finishes, because finishers are rare. Finishers are respected. Finishers change their lives and often the lives of those around them. So when you feel like quitting, remind yourself that every step forward is progress, every challenge is a lesson, and every finished goal is a triumph. Stay loyal until the very end. Make finishing your non-negotiable. Because the true measure of success isn't how you start, it's how you finish. Loyalty to your goals is not a one-time decision, it's a daily commitment. It's the quiet promise you make to yourself each morning when you wake up and choose to keep going, even when the path feels long and the results are slow. It's the unwavering faith that what you're building, no matter how invisible it may seem now, is worth every sacrifice, every moment of doubt, every ounce of effort. Staying loyal means understanding that success is not a straight line, but a journey filled with twists, setbacks, and silent victories. It means trusting the process even when the destination feels far away. The greatest achievements in history were never accomplished overnight. They were forged through loyalty to a vision, loyalty to hard work, and loyalty to the person you are becoming in the process. When you choose to stay loyal to your goals, you're choosing to rise above the distractions, the doubts, and the excuses that try to pull you away. You're choosing to be stronger than your circumstances, more committed than your fears, more determined than your setbacks. This is where true power lies, in the ability to keep going when everything inside you wants to stop. Remember, your journey is unique. Your struggles are your strength. Your persistence is your power. When you stay loyal, you are planting seeds for a future that your present self can only begin to imagine. The growth happening beneath the surface today, the sacrifices, the discipline, the mental toughness, are the foundations of your success tomorrow. It's not about perfection or speed. It's about showing up day after day, putting in the work, and believing in yourself long before anyone else does. Every time you resist the urge to quit, you become more resilient. Every time you push through discomfort, you become more capable. Every time you stay loyal, you're rewriting your story, one where you are the hero, the fighter, the finisher. The road will be tough. There will be moments of fear, frustration, and exhaustion. But those moments are the milestones of progress. They mark your growth and prepare you for the breakthrough that's coming. So don't give up. Don't let temporary struggles steal your lifelong dreams. Stay loyal to your goals because the future is counting on you. The person you want to become depends on your commitment today, and the world is waiting for the impact only you can make. Hold fast. Keep moving forward. And know this: loyalty is not just a habit, it's a superpower. When you harness it, nothing can stop you. Your journey starts now. Stay loyal. Stay focused. Stay strong. And watch as your dreams transform into reality, one faithful step at a time.